Have you ever really stopped to think about your daily routine? I mean, that first sip of coffee, the way you get ready for the day, your commute, all the little things we do, we usually just see them as, well, just stuff we do, right? But what if it's way more than that? What if those tiny actions are actually the building blocks of our health, who we are, and what we're all about? Well, that very question is right at the heart of this really fascinating field called occupational therapy. And hey, don't let the name throw you off. This is not just about your 9 to 5 job. It's a whole field dedicated to the science of how the everyday things we do literally shape our health, our identity, and our ability to live life to the fullest. Okay, so first things first, we've got to talk about that word occupation. I know. When you hear it, your brain probably jumps straight to job or career. But in this world, it means so much more. It's all about how we occupy our time. So, the official definition calls it the therapeutic use of everyday life occupations. Just think about that for a second. It's about using the simple, normal things we do every day as a kind of therapy, almost like a prescription. The whole goal is to help people get back to participating in their own lives, whether they're coming back from an injury, learning to live with a disability, or facing pretty much any challenge that's getting in the way of them doing what they need and want to do. And this difference is absolutely crucial. See, an activity is just an action. Chopping a carrot is an activity, but it becomes an occupation the second you add personal meaning to it. Are you just chopping that carrot for a quick salad to eat by yourself? Or are you chopping it as part of that family recipe that's been passed down for generations? Occupational therapy zooms in on the meaningful stuff, the things that really make up the unique story of your life. So, how do OTs actually approach all this? Well, they're not just winging it. They have a guide, a sort of blueprint for the entire profession. It's called the Occupational Therapy Practice Framework, or OTPF for short. And it's what guarantees a consistent, holistic approach for every single person they work with. You can almost think of this framework as the operating system for OT. It's this shared language and structure that helps every practitioner understand two fundamental things. First, what they should be looking at when they analyze someone's life, and second, how to actually deliver help in a way that works. It just makes sure everyone's working from the same playbook. And this framework is really built on two main pillars. First, you've got the domain. That's the what. It basically defines all the different areas of life that OTs are experts in. And then you have the process. That's the how, the actual step-by-step actions they take to help someone. You really can't have one without the other. So let's dive into the domain first. The domain is basically the special lens that an OT uses to see a person. It's not just about zeroing in on a diagnosis or a single body part. It's this incredibly comprehensive way of looking at the whole person and their life, and it's all broken down into 5 key aspects. And these 5 things all work together to paint a complete picture. It all starts with occupations, those meaningful activities we talked about. They're right at the center. But to really get it, an OT also has to look at the contexts where they happen, the performance patterns or habits that surround them, the performance skills you need to actually do them, and even the internal client factors, like your beliefs and your body's abilities. So yeah, we start with occupations because this is the sun that the entire OT solar system revolves around. And I'm going to say it again because it's so important. It is not just your job. It's literally everything you do that fills your time and gives you that sense of purpose. And believe me, this framework gets super specific about what everything means. It covers the absolute basics we all take for granted, like getting dressed or eating. They call those ADLs, but then it also includes really complex stuff like managing your finances or driving a car. It even classifies rest and sleep as a vital occupation. This just gives you an idea of how holistically OTs look at a person's life. Nothing is too small or too big to matter. Next up, we have contexts. The best way to think about this is like the stage where your life's play happens. It includes your physical environment, like is your home set up in a way that's easy to move around in, but it's also personal, your age, your cultural background, your financial situation. All these things totally shape how you do what you do. Performance patterns are pretty much the structures we build into our daily lives. Your morning routine that you can't function without, the different hats you wear as a parent or an employee, that weekly ritual of getting together with friends. These are the patterns that give our lives shape and rhythm. Then you've got performance skills. This is the nitty-gritty, the actual doing part. These are the tangible actions you need to perform to get something done. So let's go back to cooking that meal. An OT would look at your motor skills, like how you grip the knife, your process skills, like how you follow the steps of the recipe, and even your social interaction skills if you're chatting with someone while you cook. And finally, we have client factors. This is all the stuff that's going on inside of you. This includes your deep-seated values and beliefs, but it also gets into your body's functions, like your memory or your muscle strength, and your body's actual structures, like your joints and organs. This is the internal toolkit you bring to every single thing you do. So that's the domain. It's the complete map for understanding a person's life. But a map's not much good if you don't know how to use it, right? So how do therapists actually use this information to help? Well, that brings us to the second pillar, the process. This is OT in action. The process is actually a really clear, logical, three-step journey. It all kicks off with the evaluation. This is where the therapist and the client work together to figure out what's really important. Then comes the intervention, which is the collaborative action plan. And finally, they measure the outcomes to see what worked and what's been achieved. But what really truly makes the OT process special is this core belief right here. The therapist isn't some director barking orders. They're more like an expert navigator sitting in the passenger seat. As this quote says so perfectly, the client is always in the driver's seat. They are the only ones who can say what gives their life meaning. The entire therapy journey is built around their goals, which makes it incredibly personal and powerful. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how, but that leaves the biggest question of all. What's the ultimate why? Why does this whole blueprint, the domain and the process, even matter? Well, it all boils down to one powerful overarching goal. And this right here, this is the mission statement that ties it all together. The ultimate goal isn't just about fixing one specific problem. It's about achieving health, well-being, and participation in life. And how do you get there? Not with some abstract treatment, but through engagement in occupation, by helping people get back to doing the everyday things that mean the most to them. So, in the end, occupational therapy isn't just about recovery or rehab. It's this incredibly holistic and empowering way of seeing the whole person in their own unique world. It's all about helping them build, or sometimes rebuild, a life that's defined by purpose, meaning, and just being a part of it all. And that kind of leaves us with a question to think about. If you push aside your job title, what's the one thing you do, that one occupation, whether it's big or small, that truly gives your life a sense of purpose? If you can answer that, then you're already starting to understand the incredible power of everything we've just talked about.